It's never too late to start a hobby. That's the mindset of a family in Charter Oak, Iowa, who for the last 11 years have been refurbishing pedal-powered tractors. Papa's Pedal Tractors, made up of 81-year-old Jim Pester and his two adult stepsons, Corey and Kyle, began refurbishing old pedal tractors in 2013. It began when Corey's son took an interest in a pedal tractor, and the three men restored a few tractors they found at auctions. Word spread that they were able to fix the tractors, and the rest is history. Since they started, over 130 tractors have come through their shop to be restored.
I like to take the ones that are real bad and make them back to where they should be. You know, I enjoy that. And the challenge of trying to make something work, you know.
Most of the tractors brought in are bought online or at auctions, and every one of them has a story.
The lady that we bought it from, we gave her a price on what we were willing to give her, and she accepted that price. When I asked her why she let us have it when she had others that were going to give her more, she knew that we were going to restore and keep it, and that's what she was wanting, because that's what her husband wanted, was to restore it. So she wanted it restored, and I sent her some pictures when we got it done, and she really appreciated that.
The family hopes to continue working and expanding their operations in the years to come. They said they have about 4 or 5 tractors in the works right now.